Hello and welcome to another installment of the Zionsville Football Fantasy Football League Fantasy Football Podcast. This week brought to you as always by Sleeper. Sleeper, the only fantasy football app made for fans by fans. This is the show where we take a look into the details and goings on in this league because we all know our commissioner won't. I'm here with my co-host as usual, Mr. RJ Wagner. RJ, how are you doing after last week?
You've probably seen this picture here before, right? If you look at it the right way. What? Can you see it?
Yeah, it's a nice lady with a nice hat.
If you look at it the right way, you see a beautiful woman, great chiseled jawline, absolutely gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
If you look a little bit closer, Buffalo Wild Wings sent me a message. If you look a little bit closer, you see a witch. In life, it's all about perspective, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about fucking perspective.
I didn't see the witch.
Oh my God. And you know what? Perspective ass. I absolutely hate myself. I hate fantasy football. I couldn't tell you how little fun I've had watching players on my fantasy team drop balls, snap their legs in half, going for a touchdown, get fucking headaches on the sidelines. I'm so tired of being beaten and bruised. I'm a 2-point conversion away from going to anyone but Chris Godwin and a 2-yard touchdown to anyone, or one less dropped ball from Garrett Wilson, or one non-strip fucking sack by Zach Wilson away from being 5-4. This is how I feel right here. This is how I feel. I am tired. I am done. I feel horrible. I'm just asking. I'm done. I'm so done. I can't tell you that, like, it's just,
yeah.
I just want everything in my life over with. Shout out Omnia Nightclub for these cups. Thank you, Kyle, for buying those drinks and putting them on the floor when you were done with them. I picked them up, cleaned them, and now I use them all the time. So,
well, that's a nice sentiment.
Cheers.
Today we've got a special guest, your commissioner, Trevor Lichty. Trevor, how are you doing?
Well, Ted, I'm about the same as RJ. I mean, we're both sitting there down at 3-6, and I've got some stats for later on for why I also am in a terrible mood and fucking done with fantasy. So we'll get to those, but till then, I'm right there with you, RJ. So.
Wow. And I just want to say, after a win last week, the sun is shining brighter. The air is fresher. Let me tell you guys, it gets better. All you have to do is win in fantasy football, and those thoughts of self-harm mostly go away. But let's get into the week 9 recap. And I'm just going to,
last week when I won, I kept telling Charity it seemed like it just was so much better. It went faster. Like the next weekend came so much faster. And then now it's a Tuesday, and I was telling Charity it feels like fucking Thursday. Like I feel I don't know what I'm doing here with my life. I'm so tired. I'm done. Suicidal. I hate myself. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sure everyone in this league has had those thoughts. But let's just keep going with the week 9 recap. Maybe that'll cheer you up. Let's start off with our first game. Monty beat RJ 103-100. Monday night meltdown. Breece Hall, Keenan Allen, Garrett Wilson didn't do enough to match the Chargers defense. 27-point performance. That was crazy. Monty scrapes to 103 points. Inspirational. People were counting him out, calling this a loss already, but the bank came back. RJ, if you want to say anything, you can. But if you just want to, revel in your pity and
I will say there's some fantasy football etiquette that you need to have. And I'm looking straight into the camera. Binks a lot, texting me over and over again. Congrats on your win. Congrats on your win. It's over. It's over. And all I kept saying, it is not over. It is not over. And he just knew what he was doing. And let me tell you, A person that does that has never won the championship. Okay? The fantasy football gods, you might have won this week, but you will not. You might have won the battle, but you won't win the war. Just wait. You'll see when the playoffs come. You can't act like that. You got to be respectful. But it was heartbreaking. Running back sucked. Still haven't had a 20-piece from my quarterback since whatever week 4. Only once this year I've had over 20 points. Good win for Monty. Average margin of victory of our games this year, do you know what it is? 1.7.
Wow.
1.7, and he's won both. But I will say hats off to him for starting. Chargers defense was definitely a good start, but I think a risky start with Taysom Hill really paid off for him, and I really didn't see that coming because he could either have 0.7 or 20, and he got him on the right week. So that was I'll give him hats off to that.
Trevor, you got anything to say about this matchup?
What goes around comes around. You never want to be the guy on the bad side of the fantasy gods, but so that's why I tried to stay out of this one. I know on that first matchup with you, Monty, I said that you had the automatic win, and so I wasn't going to say a thing in that fantasy group chat this week. But man, talk about some Monday nightmares for you against Monty on the Monday night games. I mean, and this one even looked better than the first one did. I mean, I thought going into Monday night, all 4 games were settled. We ended up having a couple that ended up coming down to the wire. So it was crazy, but honestly, the Chargers defense, I mean, enough said right there. Against all odds, they put up an insane week. And
if the Jets got 1 touchdown at any point in the game to anyone, I would have won.
Yeah. And then they had that drop pass like on the last possession. That would have won you the game. So
Garrett Wilson dropped a ball that was like 18-yard pass on that same drive. That would have won me the game. Terrible.
Wild stuff. But what's crazy, I think you said you could be 5-4 without those things happening. What's even crazier is if that you didn't have that Sam Laporta game.
Yep, I was going to say that.
Could be 2-7. You've had some insane Monday night games, so we'll see how it comes around these next few weeks. But the season's already the regular season, not even talking about fantasy, is halfway over. I can't believe how fast it's flying down.
You said what goes around comes around, but what you mean what goes around is still going around because it's now happened twice to me. Just getting beaten. I'm waiting for it to come around, but it's just going around twice.
See how it goes from here.
Yeah, you just got to look into that playoff push. That'd be the only time it could come around. Looking at our next matchup, the opposite side of the coin, a nail biter for one of our co-hosts that brought good tidings. I beat Jack 99.5 to 98.8. Josh Herbert had his worst showing, but did just enough with 7.14 points. I was at work. I was checking my phone thinking, what's he doing? He's got to get something. He ended up with 135 yards, no interceptions, no touchdowns, but boy, that was a nail biter. Derrick Henry, Saquon, Aaron Jones finally all got 10 points. I don't think that's happened this year. Jack's running back guru mind, I think, is over with Devin Singletary. Sort of a ballsy choice there. Where did that come from? Tyreek had an off week. Boy, did it show for Jack. RJ, what do you have to say about this matchup?
Yeah, it was definitely scary for you coming down to Herbert on Monday night as the game went on. But your running backs are coming into form nicely down the stretch, which is huge for your team. And I know we mentioned that earlier on in the pod a couple weeks ago, how you have great big name running backs. You just need them to perform like that, and they're starting to do that. But there are some sort of question marks, everywhere else with wide receivers. Obviously, quarterback, tight end. I don't know where you'll go from there. But for Get Off My Lawn, tough showing from Tyreek and really not the production he wants out of Mahomes. It's sort of what we've pointed out throughout the year. If those guys don't go nuclear, which they do often, they can fall to that. He could fall to that, lower level, team at any point. No offense, I'm just going straight off the breakdown. Straight off the breakdown
It's
record
okay.
that he's towards the top. But that's the type. He's the type of team that I could see, maybe getting that bye, but falling, immediately in that semi position because there's just way too much dependency, I think, on a few players.
Yep, that's been his team the whole year. Just dependency on those three guys. But big win for you, Ted. I don't think that you ever had any concern because the Commanders won. So you knew on Sunday they won.
I'm loving the doppelganger. I am the Commanders.
Who do they play this week? Anybody know?
They might have a bye.
Do they? No, because RJ, you got Sam Howell in your lineup, don't you?
Yeah, I've had him in and out.
No, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. He's got Justin Fields back in the lineup.
Whoa, you've been switching it around. But yeah, I don't know who they play, but whoever the Commanders play this
They're
weekend.
at Seattle.
At Seattle.
Ooh.
Could be a tough one there, Ted. But is Jack in a little bit of a panic mode here? I mean, he was sitting there pretty for the bye week, getting a bye week in that first round of the playoffs, and all of a sudden he's rattled off some losses, and he's got an unfortunate week coming here that we'll cover in the preview. But see how it all plays out.
Now, looking at our next matchup, we've got Kevin beating Kyle 120-91. Just a pitiful showing from Kyle. Big performances from Eckler and Josh Allen, all that really kept him afloat. But Gabe Davis with 0 points, Butker with 3, Bills defense with 1. You just can't look at his team and think they can really do big things, even if he makes the playoffs, which is a big if looking at his team. Kevin, I guess he finally got Josh Jacobs to do something, but he should be a little worried about Puka and Kelsey. RJ, what do you got for that?
Yeah, Beep and Kyle, that match. The lack of production from Tony P, this whole season is very scary from the outside looking into the playoffs. The risk starting Gabe Davis didn't pay dividends, obviously, like you mentioned, and he's really an all or nothing guy. It seems like he'll get 3 catches, but usually if he gets 3 catches, he'll get 3 touchdowns with it, or he'll get nothing. So that means, if he starts him next week, he'll get 20, 25 points because that's just what he does. And Beep got good production from 3 players. Jalen, Josh Jacobs, Browns D, they accounted for 61.83% of his points. Hurts has led his team in scoring 3 out of the last 4 weeks. So it must really be good having a good starting quarterback. I'd love to know what it feels like. That sounds awesome. But yeah, that's that level of disparity with the points. 3 guys accounting for almost 62%. That's getting close to like Jack level with the 3 guys. Is that what you want long term? I don't know, but regardless, you get a win, you move on.
Yeah, I mean, big week for the Browns defense. I feel like that was the difference in this game. That was kind of the biggest thing that stood out to me. I don't have much else. 3-game win streak for a certain team in this matchup. It's huge. So see if you can keep that rolling. But
yeah, now moving on to the next matchup, talk about relying on those big performances. Trevor, you didn't do bad, but Chase beat you 141-11. Dak with 34, CD 22, Rashad White 26. No question about this matchup. Chase on a bye week for the 49ers. You can tell he put all his sights into fantasy this week. He's playing with training weights on for most weeks. But Trevor, you're skidding yet again. You lost 4, now then you won 3. Now you've lost 2 in a row. This has got to put you at a little bit of a scary position. Joe Burrow, he's back in your lineup. He did all right, but not enough to win. RJ, do you have anything to say real quick?
Yeah, no, beat down by Chase. Dak's coming together nicely, which is good for him. Great play from Rashad White. Good to see him get some more red zone touches and get in the end zone a couple times. Still iffy with Devontae's production. Don't know about him and Aiden O'Connell, that connection. And same with Jamar, and he didn't get as much production. It seemed like Joe Burrow dispersed his passes a little bit more last week. They are getting their targets, but that's the blessing of having those three receivers. It's very rare to see all three just completely shit the bed. So if one can at least go off, they can carry the load and kind of average out those receivers to 12, 13. But they all have that really high upside that if multiple people get 20, 15 plus, that's always a good sign. Chase is averaging a whopping 161.97 points when facing off against Trevor this year, with an average margin of victory of 52 points. An absolute utter beatdown. He looks to kill when he sees Marlboro Joes. It's like you said, not a bad showing from Trev. Just definitely could have gotten more from Alvin and Isaiah. The usage with Taysom Hill in the red zone is way scarier than I would have thought. That is literally their offense when they get within the 5-yard line. Like, he comes in with whatever their defensive tackle as their fullback, and they just run the ball. That is all they do, which will definitely hinder his fantasy value going forward. He won't be coming out of the lineup, I'm sure, but it's you won't be getting what you want out of him, really.
Yeah,
Trev?
I mean, you just hit about everything I was going to say. Burrow, I'm no longer worried about my quarterback. I think Burrow's back. I mean, I had terrible quarterback history.
That is a straight statement, and I can just see something happening this
he's
week.
fucked.
But
He's fucked
Yeah.
for this next weekend. But
you got to clip that with whatever injury happens to him.
yeah, we'll see what happens here. But I mean, I had terrible quarterback history for the first half of the season. I finally feel comfortable. He's already had his bye week. Burrow's my starter for the rest of the year. God forbid something happened to him. Kamara, I don't know. He was playing the worst. I think the Bears were the 32nd run defense for points against running backs, and he had 9 carries. So I don't know how he had such a bad week. But seriously, it's like they get inside the 5, and it's Taysom Hill. They'll run Taysom Hill on all 4 downs. So that kills his fantasy value. But like you said, with Chase outscoring me, somehow I got to play Chase on the week the 49ers had a bye, and also the week they had a Thursday night game. So both weekends I played Chase. Chase was locked in on his lineup, putting the right moves in. He outscored me in the 2 matchups 323.94 to 219.94.
Wow. God.
Point differential of 104, like you said, average of 52. That average margin of victory is over twice as much as Chase's season average margin of victory. And honestly, he just beat the shit out of me for the second time this season. And I was looking at my lineup, and I was like, all right, going into Sunday night, I've got Burrow, Mixon, Diggs, Sunday Night Football. No matter what happens in the afternoon, I've got a shot at least in the Sunday night game. So I was all day looking forward to that Sunday night game. And then all of a sudden his team goes off in the afternoon games. My team does terrible. I didn't even have a chance. With 3 of my best players in the Sunday night game. And even with Jamar Chase having a bad game. So I was pissed again. I mean, I feel like I only come on here after a depressing loss and have to tell my stories about my Sunday night. Was down in my Pink Whitney. Shout out Ryan Whitney came on the Pardon My Take podcast this week, so it got me to get some Pink Whitney, and I was drinking it all Sunday and didn't even end up watching most of the game because the last thing I remember is throwing up in my bathroom, and then I woke up on my couch butt ass naked at 2 a.m. and saw the Bengals won. Saw that I lost in fantasy by 30. So not a good week. I mean, it's going to be a little scary going forward here. I hate being back on a losing streak. I feel like my whole season's just been losing streak, win streak, losing streak. So don't feel great right now, but got to get some more wins.
I didn't realize this vodka bottle doesn't have one of those stoppers, and I put way too much in this vodka Red Bull.
Yeah. I was watching you pour that, and just that 2:00
But
meeting.
anyways, looking league wise, Ted, you went up 3 spots up to the 5th overall, while Kyle and Trevor dropped to the come game. Beep and Chase now 3rd and 4th respectively in points scored. I dropped to 5th, I think 3rd from 5th, or 3rd to 5th. Breakdown wise, it's Jack, Binks, and Beep at the top. Me, Trev, Chase in the middle. And then Ted, you and Kyle at the rear, actually, when it comes to the breakdown. So it really seems like there are 3 different tiers of teams. There's that upper echelon right now of those 3, middle of me, Trev, and Chase. And then right now, you 2 at the bottom. That's just breakdown-wise, but you aren't even in the come game, so you got nothing to worry about. What else do I have? Oh, it's anyone's championship to win. Except mine, because Bijan will probably get another headache at some point in the season. So
the breakdown is quite crazy. Can we talk about the breakdown for a second, real quick?
Let's talk about the breakdown for a second.
So at the top are Jack and Monty, right? Mm-hmm. Jack 39-24, Monty 38-25. If you look at the breakdown of each week and see like what the record is for if you had played everybody, like what those other 7 teams would have won. I went through and looked at each of those records for each team. And so basically I went through and counted how many, like, so say you're 4-3, 5-2, 6-1, 7-0, count that as like a win. And count the ones as losses. So I went through Jack and Monty. If you look at each individual week on the breakdown, would be 6-3. They both are 6-3. So pretty true to what they are there at the top. Next is Kevin, a couple losses below at 36-27. His breakdown week by week shows that he should be 5-4, which he is 5-4. Then me and RJ are next in the breakdown. So we're at 4-5. But both tied for the worst record in the league. Our breakdown is both 32-31. RJ, the breakdown, we're both 3-6. By the breakdown week by week says you should be 4-5. Week by week, the breakdown for me, it says I should be 5-4.
Wow.
The past 2 weeks, I was 5-2 in the breakdown and lost.
Wow. Yeah, I see that.
And then Chase is below us, even though he has 3 more wins than us. The breakdown says he should be 5-4 when he's really 6-3. And then Kyle and Teddy at the bottom of the breakdown. Both Teddy, you and Kyle are pretty lucky in the breakdown. Teddy, you're 4-5. Breakdown says you should be 3-6. Kyle is 3-6. Breakdown says he should be 2-7.
Only 2 times he's finished in the upper half of the league.
Yep.
Wow.
Pretty interesting stuff in the breakdown this week.
That we'll include that in the Statman segment. But one thing I'll say to that is, at first I was like, oh, the breakdown's pretty interesting. No, you play against the team you're up against. This is fantasy football. This isn't fantasy golf where you're playing against a field. This is fantasy football. You've got a team. You've got your players head to head.
Some leagues have adopted where you get two, like a win or a loss on who you face, and then a win or a loss on if you beat the league median score. What do you think about that, Ted?
I think
I see that often.
That's getting away from what football is. You've got your team, because here's what I'll say.
Any sport. I agree with you. I'm on your side.
When my players are going head to head, it's not, oh, you're playing the field. No.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert is going up against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
The defense is going against the defense.
I completely agree. If
It makes
if
no sense. Sometimes your
that's
players
like
will
if
play up, play down.
yeah,
It is what it is, you know.
it
But
sucks, but yeah, it is what it is.
it's funny.
It's like how the AL East is the best Major League Baseball division. You know, it sucks that some of those not all those teams can make the playoffs, or it's just like in say a Chiefs Bills game, Chiefs win 51-49. That doesn't mean the Bills get any sort of a win. That's 0-1 regardless. I like it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. Just
Yeah.
thought I'd play devil's advocate a little bit.
It is what it is, but it is fun to look at, and it's very ironic that
Metal straw, Ted. Metal straw.
it's very ironic as me as the commissioner, I make the schedule, and I've made the schedule so that I have 2 less losses than what I could have had with the breakdown. So
I'll be looking forward to next season. Who plays Chase when he gets an off week?
yeah, I'll be sure to be looking at the 49ers schedule when I make our fantasy football schedule.
That'll be huge.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, just for a quick Statman segment of the week for Kyle. His big thing, he's locked in on this touchdown stat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, it's what this game's about. You score, you get touchdowns. This week, Jack and Kyle both joined the scored more touchdowns and still lost, which has got to be rough. And also, teams that outscore their opponents in touchdowns are 26-4 on the season. Does that affect you guys? Are you looking for players that score more, or people like, say, the legend of Calvin Johnson, where they'd get yards and yards, but they don't score as much? Do you see that as affecting any of your playing, looking at it's all about the touchdowns?
Me personally,
whoa. Did we say that at the exact same time?
That was crazy.
What the fuck?
It's like when we both sent that Jim Irsay tweet of them dancing in the locker room same time.
Oh my god!
What you got, Trell, on that?
I don't look at players to score touchdown. I just put in the lineup I think is going to score the most points, but it might be something to look at in the future. Obviously, touchdowns are huge in this league, so
I definitely I'm the same way, but I have started counting my touchdowns. Like, okay, that is 1. That is 2. And in my head, I'm, regardless of what the scores look like, I'm like, that's another percentage closer I have to I should win. So
yeah.
But yeah, I love the stat. The stat man has been absolutely killing it this year. He deserves so much love. It's a shame that he refuses to be on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been killing it. He's been amazing.
Yeah, he deserves a raise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and it's funny because like touchdowns are so big. Where watching the games on Red Zone or whatever on Sundays, it's like you see you see a guy on the team you're playing against like get like a 40-50 yard game, you're like, oh well, at least he didn't get in the end zone. But you see like a guy run like a 1 yard touchdown on the team you're playing against, it's like, fuck, you got to be kidding me. So it's very interesting.
Now, real quick, taking a look at the polls this week, we had both of our official and unofficial poll makers pulling their weight, pun intended. RJ, you had the poll, will we have a 6-win team in the last place?
Are you calling me fat? Pulling the weight, pun intended? I don't get the pun.
Polling the weight?
There we go. Okay.
That's good.
So you asked, will a 6-win team be in the last place game, which has never happened before? People think yes, that'll happen.
Let's reveal our choices. What'd you guys choose?
I voted no.
I voted no as well.
I voted no. So we were the three no.
Out of the 3 teams at 3 and 6 right now, I don't see 2 of them getting 3 wins.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
That seems crazy.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Out of the 3 and 6 teams, 2 of them would have to go. At least 2 of them would have to go 3 and 2 in these last 5 weeks. And
there's only 5 weeks left.
Yeah. I don't see it happening. I think that 6 wins gets you in that playoffs. So that's, I'm looking at that is what's been my goal for the rest of the season, is like out of these next 5 weeks, got to get 3 wins.
Yeah, I think 6 wins is probably the line where you got to get it or you're wearing the cum. And now our next poll from Monty, we've got, do you prefer the ESPN broadcast or the Manning cast of Monday Night Football? Keeping it light. And the result, it's a tie.
What'd you guys choose?
I voted the regular broadcast. I feel like when I'm really
Ted, what'd you choose?
Personally, I haven't watched either in 3 years, but I think I would watch the Manning cast.
I said the ESPN broadcast.
Wow.
And so actually it's funny, when that poll came out, I decided, because I always just watch the regular broadcast. When that poll came out, I decided to watch the Manning cast on Monday night. Well, at least for the first half, until I started throwing up everywhere. But or no, that was for the Sunday night game. So I watched all the Manning cast. But I don't know. I just like the broadcast of the normal game, and I normally like to go back and look at like some of the highlights of the clips of the Manning cast. But with me being out of fantasy, I actually really enjoyed the Manning cast, and it might be something I'm watching from here on out. So
Wow.
For me, it's very guest dependent. It depends on whatever guest is there, because a lot of the times I'm really not very interested in the guest. And I like when it's just those two, Eli and Peyton, talking football. I like that a lot. But then they'll have a guest that I really don't care about, and they kind of just talk to him and he takes over the show, and I'm not a big fan. Now, when they had Will Ferrell on the show, I was bought in on the Manning broadcast. So very guest dependent for me.
yeah, that's true.
Wow. Now those were some great polls. I'm loving the people in this league putting in the effort, getting the polls, the stats. It's spreading.
What
I think
about the
this
poll of will this year's champion be a first-time winner that I put out?
Oh, to be fair, I didn't scroll up that far.
And you
all
might not have
sorts-
even voted.
All sorts of polls this week.
And you might not have even voted, it seems like, because there were 7. But will this year's champion be a first-time winner? Yes, Jack, Kevin, Monty will win. Or no, Trevor, Chase, Kyle, RJ, or Teddy will win. What did you guys vote?
I've got it up right here. I voted yes. Those 3 are at the top of the league. They've got good teams. I think like I said, a renaissance in this league. The old is becoming new. The new is becoming old. Times are changing.
I voted no. I think one of those teams is always just completely average. His entire league point differential shows that, and I can't see him winning. One of those teams that's dependent on 3 players that I don't see him winning this year, and the other just put up some bad juju with the fantasy gods. So I don't see any of those 3 teams winning. I think it'll be a winner who's won in the past.
Now, I did say yes. I personally, and this is just statistical, all 3 at the top of the league, 6 people make the postseason. If 2 out of the 3 get the bye, that means 2 of them will be in the semis. There's a good chance that it will be a new winner. And looking at the teams, if I had to pick one, I do believe Bink-Salot made a deal with the devil this year. I believe, it's the devil against the fantasy gods. We will see who wins. But, he definitely made a deal with the devil. So he did something.
How about I got a question for you guys. With the 3 of us being in the bottom 4 of the league right now, so not much bias going into this. Who was your prediction to get the 2 buys for the first round of the playoffs? Right now, it's just
I could, if I had to just say it right now, I think it's going to be Monty and Chase.
I agree. I think so too. Ted?
I think it might be Chase. I want to say Monty, but he's been on a down. I do think he could win and get hot in the playoffs, but just throughout the rest, I think Monty and Jack. I think Jack might have enough left in the tank to get 3 more wins, and I think that would cement him at the top. Will that translate to postseason success? Maybe not, but I can see Chase and Jack.
We'll have to talk about that after our commercial break when we get to the previews.
Yes, we've got a quick commercial break before the previews. Please stay with us. We need you to watch. Viewership has been down, so just stick with us through this commercial, and we'll be right back.
A friend is an emotional bond. They become brothers and sisters, critical to our human experience. Vitamins for a hopeful soul. We celebrate with them. We break bread with them. We build beautiful things with them. So when you find a group, you make sure to keep them close. At Fetty, it's our mission to help you do exactly that. With a click of a button, you can get the right vehicle for your group so that everyone stays together and the memories keep flowing. Pay for yourself or pay for others. Fetty's QR check-in system makes it easy. You no longer need to split up the group and take multiple cars, because frankly, you shouldn't have to. At the end of the day, we are social creatures, and we are at our best when we are with others. It's what keeps us human. So when you and your group needs to keep moving, take a Fetty. Stay together. Stay human.
Welcome back after that commercial break. We want to say thank you to our sponsors. Make sure if you're in the Austin area, make sure you patronize them. We love the folks at Fetty. Real quick, before we get into the Week 10 preview, I've got a quick trivia question. We know you hate the games.
Yeah.
Here's a big question.
We love
for the
games.
historians out there. What year was fantasy football created?
Oh, that's
Not multiple choice.
a good
Sure.
question.
I'll do multiple choice.
Don't do multiple choice.
Oh, no. All right.
Closest year.
Yeah,
Closest wins.
All right.
closest wins.
I'm ready. Do I need to write it down? I don't want to write on my page. Just Trevor, you write it down and I'll say it. I'm ready.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right, you ready?
All right. I'm going to
RJ, what you
say
got?
1993.
What?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
1993.
Oh, I thought you said 1893. I was like, what the fuck? I got
Trevor, what do you got?
2000.
Oh, I think it's right there.
Wow.
Is it 95?
You guys are both really wrong. Fantasy gridiron football was created by Bill Winkenbach, former owner of the Raiders, in 1962.
Wow.
They were doing fantasy football. They'd write it down by hand.
Wow.
That was the first, so way back.
Damn.
I didn't know it
So
was that old.
RJ technically wins, but it was still 30 years off.
Wow.
Well,
Go
let's
ahead
get
and, guys, for the listeners, put your answers in the chat. Let's see what you said.
Yeah, we haven't had any comments on any of our podcasts, but if you want to comment or in the group me, pause it right before we tell you. But looking into the Week 10 preview, I'm sure we all know how this happens. RJ, does the sports
As
book
we
get us started?
begin the preview of Week 10 of the 2023 ZFFL, I must remind you of our great sponsorship over at our ZFFL ASICS Sportsbook, ASICS Footwear. The brand new GT Pollard 2012 shoe is a versatile stability shoe that's functional for various distances. We've reimagined this workhorse running style with less weight and a smoother heel-to-toe transition. ASICS, a sound mind is a sound body.
Wow, thank you for ASICS. Short and sweet. I loved it. Well, looking at the first matchup this week, we've got Teddy at Kevin and what I'm calling the don't get too comfortable matchup. I'm
You're
at 4-5.
Not the opposite day matchup.
No,
Like
no, that would be That would be a different thing. So looking at this game, tough week for Kevin. Kelsey, Hurts, Puka all on a bye. He's going to need Josh Jacobs, DeAndre Hopkins to keep him afloat. My big question marks are always my big question marks. Will my running backs keep it going? Can I get some receivers to do anything? At the time of my research, Kevin did not even have a D in his B.
No D.
No D in the
No
B.
D. He does have a D in his B now. He has
He's got
a
a D in
okay.
his B now.
still no D
That
though.
was big.
No D in
Is-
the S.
No D in the LW.
Okay.
Which has worked for him before, but that last second streaming
Goodness.
defenses.
Sorry. Get
Caller.
that.
Who we got? Who you
Got my boss calling me. But I'll have to wait.
RJ, what does the sportsbook have to say about this matchup?
Yeah, Ted, a pretty tough matchup for for your running backs. Both are facing top 10 rushing defenses.
Mm-hmm.
Kev, on the other hand, without Jalen, without Travis Kelce, massive. I really do personally think the Purdy pickup to fill in was really good. Again, for some reason, James Cook is right now projected 0 points. Don't know what happens. And like you mentioned, he has no D, but he does have a D in his B. Myself, I was leaning Ted when I got the information on my desk today. The book, pick 'em.
Ooh, Trav, what you got on this one?
Big bye week trouble for a certain team. Hurts, Kelsey, Puka out is a little trouble, but I'm calling this one the game of the week. I think this is a big middle of the pack week. I'm calling this a must win for you, Ted. I'm calling it a can't lose for the other team. I think the winner is going to be in a real good spot. And
that's drunk talk right there.
I think the loser has reason to worry. So this will be a big matchup to determine where these two teams are at after this week going into the final 4 weeks. So big matchup. I think those bye weeks hurt the other team. I'm gonna say if it's a pick 'em, I'm going with you, Ted.
Wow. That most of your picks aren't correct, but that means a lot. Now looking at the next matchup, I'm calling this the stop the streak matchup. Monty versus Trevor. Monty's had a couple bad weeks. Trevor's on a 2-game losing streak. Can Monty reestablish himself as a dominant force in this league? People are doubting him. He's got Christian McCaffrey back. Can Trevor stop his big skid, bring himself back to relevance? He's relying on Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon. Pretty risky. Kamara and Diggs, he needs them to step up. What does the sportsbook think about this one?
Binky got back. No, well, yes, but Binky got CMC back, which is huge. We have JT playing over in Vietnam, which, is tough as we know. No points are ever scored in those games. I'm curious to see the Bengals and Texans game. I think that might be the game to watch. What kind of scoring is going to go on? Trev having Burrow and Mixon. As we know, last week the Texans' offense went absolutely nuclear. But the defense was not even there. So that could be a really high scoring game, which obviously helps Trev. In my opinion, I can see it now. Trev's going to be up 12 going into Monday night with Diggs, and Binky has Tyler Bass, and Binks will win with the last second 50-yard field goal. The book, though, it has him as a pick-em. But let me just real quick, not a sponsorship, but it should be, because it's our commissioner's father's favorite beer. We got ourselves a Guinness on board. Got to pour it in there because it's, the commissioner's dad, Greg Lichty.
He doesn't even drink Guinness.
Guinness is his favorite beer. It's all he drinks. It's the only thing ever in his fridge. Some people think he's an alcoholic by how much he drinks the Guinness. Cheers to you. This is for him. Oh, Jesus. Pick 'em. What do you got, Trev? Well, I guess it's your game. Ted, what do you think?
I think this is, I want to say, a toss-up, but I really can't. With Christian McCaffrey back, I think you got to bet the bank. Trevor, I don't know if he's got that big play potential that the bank has. I guess we'll see. This can also be looked at as the winner of the trade matchup
Ooh.
because
That's exactly what
they
I
both
had
traded.
called.
I think Mark Andrews and Isaiah Pacheco might be the big difference makers for Trevor, but I could also see them faltering. I don't know.
I think I could see the Saints game. It's going to come down to the Saints game. Who's going to get those goal line carries?
Yeah,
Or
that'll be huge.
Alvin Kamara. That's going to be sickening for both of you to watch and see them get to the goal line. And
Yeah, just don't go on the goal line. Just don't
Yeah.
go down on the goal line.
Yep.
That's exactly what I had called, Ted. I had the winner of the trade game. Even though I think it'll just be Mark Andrews playing. We got Pacheco on bye. Waller's
I take it back.
Waller's hurt. God, I'm hoping that JJ doesn't practice and come back this week. Because that would be terrible to see him come into a revenge game on me for trading him. But I think it might just be Mark Andrews. So hopefully with that trade, I can get some good points out of Mark Andrews. But yeah, I was real excited last week when we had our week 9 matchups up and I was looking at Monty's lineup. I saw that he had Kupp, Swift, and Tua on bye. I was like, "Ooh, that's good. That's good to see." And then I saw that it could easily be replaced by Amon-Ra, CMC, and Lamar. So that basically means nothing.
Yeah, it's a deep team.
Yeah, hoping JJ doesn't come back. Fun fact, I am 0-5 against my own Division 2. And this is the last game for me and to get a win in my division. So
I believe last year I was 1-7. Wait, yeah, right?
6 games in your division.
Yeah. I was 1-5 against Division 1 up until the very last game of the season. I won. So,
or I guess in your opposite division, you got 8 games.
Is my opposite division, correct?
So 1-7. Yeah, have Division 2. My own division's been kicking my ass, so I'm trying to get a win in my division, but we'll see.
Those divisional wins are huge. Let me tell you, they mean a lot.
Fun fact. Hold on, sorry. Just to go back to the last game that we spoke about, Kevin and it was you, Ted, right? We already talked about that. Once upon a time, I was in a strip club with your opponent, and he paid this girl, for free, and then bought her a drink for her to slap him on the face as hard as she can. And this is her right here. That is her snap story. I just wanted to point that out real quick. Sorry.
Another fun fact for this game for me and Monty. Rumor is I will be in person to see CMC and the Niners D potentially kick my ass.
Wow.
I'm gonna go down to Jacksonville and see the former employee put on a little show in Jacksonville. So it could be torture right in front of my own eyes. So
wow, that'll be heartbreaking to see. Looking at the next matchup, we've got Jack versus Kyle in what I like to call the easy for Kyle matchup, because this just looks easy for Kyle. I'm disrespecting
the same name for that too.
Get off my lawn. Brutal week. Mahomes, Tyreek, AJ Brown. That's pretty much his entire team on a bye. Kyle just needs a complete week from his running back. Nothing, like, he can't have 3 players score 5 points again or whatever it was. He just needs Josh Allen to have a good week. If there's a week for Kyle to get back right, it's this week. This might be his last opportunity. What does the book think about this one?
I will say one of the best pickups last week I thought was Get Goff My Lawn with CJ Stroud. I saw that, and at first I was really hesitant. I was like, why would he even be looking at quarterbacks? He has Patrick Mahomes. I didn't realize till later that he was preparing a week in advance for that Patty bye week. That's hats off to him, for being there, being aware, being ready for the next week. So there's that. Running backs, I mean, god awful. He has the worst running back I've ever seen in fantasy. I've said it multiple times, ever. But like I said, best wide receiver duo that this league's ever seen. Too bad his three-headed monster, those two, Patty, all out on a bye. Kyle, on the other hand, Devonta and Dallas Goedert, both out on a bye. Doesn't matter. Dallas Goedert snapped his femur last week, so whatever. Getting Gibbs / Montgomery back, will that help or hurt? I see he just has Gibbs in his lineup. If Montgomery plays, is he going to take all those snaps away and Gibbs going to be that bust again? Who knows? Great matchup all around, though. I think another tough week for GGML, Get Goff My Lawn, and so does the book. Get Off My Lawn is plus 5.5 to Kyle's minus 5.5. Kyle minus 140. Get Off My Lawn minus 115.
Yeah, Ted, just like you, I had this one called the automatic Kyle win game. I mean, Jack might as well not even start a lineup. Mahomes, Brownhill, his whole team is literally on bye. He might as well just not even start anybody in the lineup. I think it is a must win for Kyle based on his position and those bye weeks. So we'll see if he can come through with that. But it was a huge pickup for Stroud. I mean, if Stroud keeps going the way he has been, maybe Jack stands a chance. So
nuclear.
Honestly, I'm just rooting for the teams around my record to lose now. I've given up hope on winning a bunch of games. I just need the teams around me to lose. So
who won in your matchup against Kyle the first time around?
I beat Kyle.
Okay. So
but me losing to you twice is huge. So
wouldn't you rather me win and hopefully get ahead of someone else that you have beaten?
Yes. So the way I've thought about it is I need to end up with more wins than you. I don't want to have that 0-2 tiebreaker coming down to it with me and you. So I either need you to lose a bunch, or sorry, the two co-hosts, I need you guys to lose. But I also need Kyle to lose. Sorry, Kyle. I hope Jack can pull it off, but if I'm betting off the sports book, it's got to be Kyle minus 5.5. So.
Wow, that is a lot of strategy going on. Looking at the last game, Chase at RJ. I'm calling this the tough luck matchup, just because I think it's going to come down to luck, and I think RJ might be on the bad side of that luck. Looking at this matchup, biggest question: can RJ start a quarterback who gets more than 20 points? He's hoping Justin Fields gets back to that 40-point performance for him, and I think week 4. Big questions for Chase. He's on a 3-game win streak. Can that dominance continue? He's really reliant on Dak and CD. If they get shut down, how is his team looking? Javonte Williams, Rachaad White looking on the up and up. Going to be a tough battle for RJ.
Yeah. We know the song and dance to this one. Historically, Chase literally owns my ass. I might as well have Chase, the word Chase Fisher, circled around my asshole because he owns it. I don't have the best matchups all around. Sam Laporta, my savior 2 weeks ago, is back from his bye, and he has a good matchup along with Mike Evans. I have no idea what I'll do at quarterback. I actually have Sam Howell in my lineup right now, so suck it, Teddy. I will be seeing Travis Etienne in person, hopefully getting 4 or 5 touchdowns against my opponent's team that he's employed by. But looking at Chase's team, it looks solid from top to bottom, honestly, and I think it's getting a little underrated. Having the roster depth to possibly put Devontae Adams on his bench because he's facing a number one pass defense. And being able to plug in a guy like Brandon Ayuk, I believe will pay dividends for him this week, possibly, and more throughout the rest of the regular season and throughout the playoffs. And sadly, the sportsbook seems to agree with me. It has Chase as a -4.5 favorite, Chase at -130 money line, RJ -115.
Yeah, I'm calling this one the up close and personal game because there's rumors that both fantasy owners will be in the same stadium, same location for this game. Chase without Mostert, a little bit of a loss there, but could be anybody's game. This is gonna be the biggest week of the year for fantasy. There's a chance for 4 teams at the end of this week, 4 teams to be at 6-4 and 4 teams to be at 4-6. That would be crazy for both the bye week and the playoffs and the come game. But what was the line on this one, Chase? What was
-4.5?
-4.5. I think with a lot going on for Chase and with some company coming to see him in action and with the game in Jacksonville, going to go across the country and travel. Rumors he's on a flight right now. Maybe he just landed in Jacksonville, but I'm gonna go RJ. I'm gonna go RJ plus 4.5. So
I'm really going to try and take advantage of him. I have a drug dealer in Jacksonville, and I'm going to try and drug him, take his phone, and put everyone on his bench, and maybe get him kidnapped. So I will do anything I can to get this win.
Do you want me to
whatever it takes?
Do you want me to bleep that one out?
Yeah. Just beep it all out. Just beep it out.
Cut it.
I don't want him to know since you're gonna put that out before I get there.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Well, that's all we have for the Week 10 preview. This week is going to be absolutely wild. So much at stake for the future. A lot of separation, a lot of close together. Do you guys have any final words to the fans? Anything you want to say?
Get your money in the sports book. I've heard that they might be doing a little giveaway if they get up enough money. That could be fun. And I believe I heard through a representative of the book that it will be dependent on how much money you have wagered throughout the year. So keep wagering. Your percentage of winning, the more you wager, the better percentage chance you have of winning this giveaway. Sports betting is legal in Florida now. Come visit me. We can gamble on the Hard Rock or the FLFF app because that is a cheat code.
Look it up.
I think this week is big. But like I said at the beginning of this podcast, I hate myself. I hate fantasy football, and I've never come close enough to quitting this league until Monday night. I really felt that. I felt like I was going to quit.
Yeah.
Well, Trevor, thanks for being here.
Terry was sitting in that chair, and I'm cussing at the TV. Motherfucker, get the fucking ball. I was so pissed off. Oh, man. And the thing is, I didn't even watch the first half. I was too busy watching the Sirs have a franchise record points scored against Victor Wembanyama. I think you might as well get your future bets in now for the Pacers to win the NBA Finals. I was about to say national championship.
Flip it up, get your bets in, subscribe to the YouTube. Excited for a big week.
Yeah, where's the Twitter by any chance? I feel like they've been inactive.
Yeah.
I had heard they were taking some sort of
hiatus?
Protest to heart. No, it was a protest.
Free Palestine?
It could have been, I don't know the exact specifics. I would call it a children's tantrum, more like they were upset at, I think, at the way some people were being treated. I'm not sure if it was the Israel Hamas stuff or if it was maybe league related. I'm
One of
hoping
those
the
two.
podcast.
It's one of those two.
But as always, thanks for listening to the Zionsville Football Fantasy Football League Fantasy Football Podcast. As RJ said, make sure to get those bets in before the Thursday night game. A lot of money to be had and a lot to have lost. Make sure to follow us on social, like Trevor said, at ZFFFLFF Pod on all major platforms. Thanks for watching, listening, and as always, Trevor, take us out.
Fuck you, Trevor.
All right, thanks for watching.